Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we have the next part of our top 25 lists, where we're doing top 25s. Recently we did like the top 25 best hatchbacks, top 25 best sedans, etc, etc, and today we're going to be going over the top 25 best cars that America never got. Obviously you guys can tell I'm a burger eating American, gosh darn right, and so I like cars, and I'm a burger eating American, and so there are a lot of cars out there that I see on the internet that makes me so mad because I never will get the experience to drive it, or I have to wait 25 years in order to import it legally over here, and then I can drive it, and that's all this, a bunch of extra fees and all that stuff. Pretty much these are 25 cars that we never got in America. Also, like I just said, if they can be imported like nowadays, that doesn't matter, it still counts. Like R32 GTRs. R32 GTRs are 25 years old now. You can import an R32 GTR, but obviously we still never got that in America, so it'll still be here on this list, obviously. Yeah, you guys get what I'm trying to say there. I just wanted to, it's kind of confusing, but yeah, if it could be imported nowadays, but we didn't get it like in America when it came out, it can still count for this list. Song of the day, by the way, is called Shot in the Dark by Ozzy Osbourne. Rest in peace, Ozzy, man. Also, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. It's just the worst couple of days here, man, for anybody. So yeah, you gotta pay some respects. It's a banger. You guys already know what the song is, but go pay some respects to him, man. He was a legend. He was an absolute legend. Without further ado, let's get right into it though with number 25. And that, my good friendos, is gonna be going to the Subaru Lavorg. As far as I can tell, don't know too much about this car, if I'm being honest. I just know what it looks like, and as far as I can tell, it's literally a wagon version of a Subaru WRX. It is exactly what it looks like, which is obviously awesome. Now, back in the day, they used to do this with the Foresters, the SGs, that's what they were. Why couldn't I think of the chassis code for a second? But yeah, the SG Foresters, they had like an STI trim, and it was pretty much just a wagon version of a WRX, which was super cool. But they don't really do that too much anymore, except they do, but they just do it in Japan, and they don't do it here in America, which is obviously really disappointing. And coming in at 24th place, I mean, this one's kind of obvious. I feel like you got to include it on a list about cool cars that America didn't get. The Lancia Delta HF Integra Evo. For anybody that likes motorsports in any regard, you don't have obviously this car's main focus was rally racing. It was really good at rally racing, and that's where it shined, obviously. But anyone that likes any form of motorsports has to love the Lancia Delta. You just have to. You can't not like it, and it's unfortunate because we never got it. Again, this is one of the cars where, yeah, nowadays you can obviously import it if you want to. It is 25 years old. If you have the money to afford one, you can import them, sure. But back when they came out, we didn't get these, and they were already really rare cars anyways. And it's just, I don't know. Especially imagine, like, I obviously am a 2000s baby. You guys know that I was born in 2000. I'm 25 years old. But imagine actually being like 20 years old or something when the Lancia Delta was in its prime too, and knowing you could just never have it. Oh my god, that would drive me nuts. Coming in at 23rd place, however, is a car that it's JDMK Cars. I'm not going to go with just one in particular, but any of them count. The Honda S660, the Honda Beat, the Suzuki Cappuccino, the Honda City Turbo, or whatever that thing was. That thing was kind of cool, actually. I kind of rocked with those. Any sort, the Daihatsu Kopens, any sort of JDMK cars that were kind of cool. The Mazda AutoZam, any of those cars we never obviously got in America. And again, I understand the reason as to why we didn't get these cars. We don't need them. In America, we have big roads and you're driving a long time. It's very common for somebody to drive 30 minutes to work every day and back. In Japan and stuff like that, that's not very common. The roads are much smaller, you don't have to drive as far, and so making these small cars in Japan made sense over there, while here in America it really doesn't. So I get why we never got them and why they didn't try selling them here, but either way, they are really cool little cars. And again, these are the type of cars where, yeah, they're 25 years old. Most of them, they're still making K cars obviously, but most of the ones that people like are 25 years old now, so you could import them if you want to, and they're not actually that expensive. But it does still suck that we never got them. Like they're pretty cool. And coming in at 22nd place is, I obviously, when I made this list, I looked up some recommendations from websites and stuff like that to get some ideas. And this is one where I always thought we did have it in America, if I'm being honest, but I guess I was horribly mistaken. The Toyota GR Yaris. We have the GR Corolla over here, and realistically speaking, the GR Corolla is kind of just better than the GR Yaris in every single way, at least in my opinion. So it doesn't really matter that much, but still, it would have been cool to have this option. I didn't know we weren't allowed to buy the GR Yaris in America. I didn't know that was a thing. But yeah, we're not allowed to buy this. Kind of weird. It's pretty much just a smaller Corolla, though. And coming in 21st place, barely missing out on the wonderful top 20 here, friends, is going to be going to the Suzuki Jimny. a car where I feel like nobody was expecting it to be on this list, but it's on this list, gosh darn it. Like I said, obviously I was using some guides online to help me out here, and when I saw somebody talk about how like the Suzuki Jimny we didn't get in America, I was like, oh my god, that's right, those cars exist and they are cool. The Suzuki Jimny is like one of those weird kind of cars where it's like at first everybody was joking about them and making fun of it's like the Miata. Everyone at first thought it was just a big joke because it was small, and then people started to realize like what it was actually built for and everything, and we're like, okay, actually this thing's kind of cool. And it's just like, if you are like Jeeps, if you like overlanding or anything like that, you will probably love the Suzuki Jimny. It is great at that, and we just never got the option to buy it. Breaking its way into the top 20, however, my good friends, is unfortunately probably one that most of us weren't going to buy anyways, but it still kind of sucks that we didn't get it. The Maserati MC12. This is the reason why it's at number 20. I was going to put it higher because obviously in terms of like coolness, this car is one of the coolest cars on this list. The Maserati MC12 is an absolute beauty in every single way. Like, I'm not a big supercar guy. Most car guys aren't nowadays, but there are certain cars where it's just like, you gotta love it. The MC12 is one of them. Like, how could you not love the MC12? But unfortunately, there's only like 50 of these ever built anyways, so even though, yeah, we weren't given the option to buy them as Americans, it doesn't really matter that much, because even if they did offer to sell them in America, only 50 Americans would have been able to buy them anyways. But either way, obviously it sucks when you see really cool cars that are beautiful, and there's a good chance you'll never even get to see them in real life if you live in America. Obviously, unless you go overseas and take a vacation or whatever, but in America there's a good chance you'll never even get to see a Maserati MC12. Coming in at 19th place is one that really surprised me, honestly, and if I'm being 100% honest, man, I don't understand why we weren't given this car. Like, the rest of them so far up until this point, I understand it, you know, I get why. The Toyota GR Yaris is like the most recent one where it's kind of questionable, and then you realize though, okay, Americans are just going to buy the GR Corolla and they're not going to buy the GR Yaris, so it would have been a bad idea for them to build them here. But it's the Porsche 911 GT2 993. The 993 911 is one of my favorite generations of the 911, period. I freaking love the 993. It's gorgeous. I think most people do. And at this time, Porsche was definitely a reputable brand in America. People knew about the 911 turbos and wanted these cars in America. It's not like they weren't known. It's not like they wouldn't have sold well. And the GT2 was now obviously the 911 Turbo 993 that was sold in America. The 911 Carrera, that was sold in America. The GT2 trim though was one that wasn't. It just blows me away. Like, I don't understand why you would sell the Turbo, the Carrera, but not the top of the line GT2 model to Americans. It makes no sense to me. And coming in at 18th place is a car that honestly shocked me when I found out that it wasn't available to Americans. I always thought it was. The Lotus Exige. Now, the Lotus Elise is sold to... You can buy a Lotus Elise as an American, but the Exige, you can't. And that is extremely, again, surprising to me, just like the 911 GT2 before, because the Exige, realistically speaking, is just a better version of the Lotus Elise. By the way, I just want to point it out there, man, the Lotus Elise and Lotus Exige are some of the most underrated sports cars ever built, period. I freaking love these things. I've never stopped loving them since Need for Speed Most Wanted, and I feel like nobody ever talks about them. It's a crime. But either way, yeah, like the Elise is pretty much just like the base model version of an Exige. The Exige is a more track-oriented version of the Elise, and again, why would Americans not want that? You know what I mean? Why would you sell us the base models and not the higher performance trim levels? Like, it just makes no sense to me. The Exige would have probably sold much better than the Elise if you brought that over to America. And coming in at 17th place, this one does make a lot of sense as to why it wasn't sold in America, because it's going to the Toyota Century. The Toyota Century, for those who don't know, is a massive Toyota. It's very, very long wheelbase, but it was built to rival cars like Mercedes S-Classes and, at the time, Cadillacs, because at the time Cadillacs were making beautifully luxurious cars. It was a land yacht that was for, like, if you were like a CEO of a company, you would buy it so that you could go and ride in the back of it and have a chauffeur drive you around. It's like one of those kinds of cars. But the reason why people think it's so cool isn't because of that. There's a ton of those cars out there and they're fine or whatever. The Toyota Century is so cool because it's the only V12 that Toyota ever made, period. Even the Lexus LFA, I know you're probably thinking, well, what about the Lexus LFA? That's a V10. The only V12 that they ever made, they put into this car, the Toyota Century, and it's a Toyota V12. V12's number one problem is they're unreliable. Well, when Toyota makes one, that's out of the question. It would have been so cool to have just this motor. Obviously, the car itself, it's whatever. But having just the motor available to Americans would have been so cool to see what we would have done at this point. And coming in at 16th place, I actually put, this was an entry on my best hatchbacks list as well, because I love these cars. Any of the Skoda vehicles. Dude, I used to not even know this brand existed until like probably 2 years ago when I started watching like rally racing videos on YouTube, and I started seeing them all the time, and I was like, what are those cars? Started looking into them more and more and falling in love with them over and over again. I am not a big hatchback guy, you guys know that at all, but Skoda hatchbacks are some of the coolest looking hatchbacks ever created, period. I freaking love them. Now, apparently, they're pretty much just rebadged GTIs, which you know, it is what it is. What isn't a rebadged GTI nowadays? Volkswagen owns every single European car brand under the sun. So it's like every time I see a car that I think is cool, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then somebody's like, yeah, it's actually a rebadged Audi or a rebadged Volkswagen. Like the freaking Lamborghini Huracan apparently is just a rebadged Audi R8. I didn't know that. I thought it was its own thing. Like, it's just disappointing. But I didn't let that steer me away from the fact that I like the Skodas better than the GTIs. Coming out of 15th place, this is what I mean, man. I wouldn't be surprised if a comment down below was like, those are actually just rebadged GTIs. Because coming in at 15th place is going to the Renault Main RS. Yeah, somebody's probably going to be like, that's actually just a Golf R. But the Renault Main is one of like the hot hatches in the world. Like when you think of hot hatches, you think of the Civic Type R, you think of the Golf, and you think of the Focus, right? Those are like the three big hot hatches, each from a different country as well. You got the Golf R, obviously from Germany, you got the Civic Type R from Japan, and you have the Focus from America. This is another one that should be included in those conversations from France. Obviously, Renault is a French brand, but we never really include it in our conversations here in America because we don't have Renault as a brand in general. I don't care about any of the other Renaults. Just let us have the Megane. These things are sick. They're super cool little hatchbacks. We never got them. And coming in at 14th place, another one that just surprises me, man. It's going to the Genesis G70 Wagon. It's actually technically called the shooting brake. I never knew that, but did you guys know that like overseas in Europe they call wagons shooting brakes over there? It's weird. But either way, yeah, the Genesis G70 is already actually a pretty, in my honest opinion, extremely underrated car. Genesis is like it's like S-Class levels of comfortability and luxuriousness, but in a regular old Toyota price point, which is insane. But unfortunately, just like the Lavorg we were talking about earlier, Americans just don't really tend to buy wagons. Like, yes, car guys like wagons, but the rest of America doesn't. If they're going to buy a vehicle that like has 3 rows, they're just going to buy SUVs. And so we never really get cool wagon versions of cars. And so yeah, we never got the Genesis G70. And also, before somebody in the comments is like, Genesis G70 isn't cool. Yes, it is. It's already a cool car. Stop lying. Coming in at 13th place is one that I'm going to be honest, man, didn't know it even existed until making this video. But it seemed pretty cool, so I'm putting it here. It's going to the Nissan March Nismo. The Nismo package from Nissan obviously has like it has an interesting success rate, man. Sometimes the Nismo package is really cool and changes the car completely, and sometimes it's just like, okay, it's whatever. But the Nissan March one does seem like it actually changes the car's performance, actually changes how the car is. The Nissan March in general, for those who, that's already a car that we don't really get here in America. That is just it's a little hatchback pretty much, and it's pretty much Nissan putting their Nismo tuning package on a little hatchback, which is awesome. Like, we need more cars like this nowadays, man. And coming in at 12th place, it's not a list about cars that America didn't get without including one of these, the Toyota Chaser. It's obvious, man. I mean, every one of us JDM car guys love the Toyota Chaser. If you're not a JDM car guy, you might look at it like it just looks like a sedan to me. But let me explain something to you. These are rear-wheel drive cars with a 1JZ GTE. Oh, what's that? You don't know what a 1JZ GTE is? Well, do you know what the 2JZ GTE is? If you're watching this video, yes, you do. Okay, stop lying. Everybody knows what the 2JZ GTE is. The 1JZ is just slightly worse than the 2J, and arguably better if you're not going for like 1,000 horsepower. If you're just going for like a nice 600 horsepower range, then the 1J is arguably the better motor anyways. It's an incredible motor, and they put it in this sedan that's luxurious and reliable. Everything about this car is freaking awesome, and they're beautiful, and they're rear-wheel drive with manual transmission. Dude, there's nothing that like the Toyota Chaser isn't cool about. Like, there's nothing about the Toyota Chaser that isn't cool, is what I should say. And coming in at 11th place, barely missing out on the wonderful top 10 here, folktales, is going to be going to the TVR Cigaras. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I never know how to pronounce it, but TVR as a whole brand realistically is here. I'm just going to go with the Cigaras because I like these ones the best out of TVR, but they have a ton of cool cars. A Subaru Speed 12 or whatever it's called. That thing is freaking insane. The Cigaras obviously being their most popular model. Then they're obviously, I think they have one called like the Tuscan or something like that. Tuscany or something. But either way, for those who don't know, TVR is a very unique like sports car / supercar brand. They make cars that look nothing like anything else on the road, and I don't even know what TVR is from. If I had to guess, I would say TVR is probably like some Swedish company or something. I don't know, but either way, they make some freaking awesome sports cars, and we never get them. However, breaking its way into the wonderful top 10, it's not a Mark Roden list without at least one BMW, guys. We're going to be talking about the BMW M3 Touring. Touring obviously meaning wagon, or shooting brake, apparently, if you live in Europe. But that's literally what it is. It's an M3 wagon. Now, they didn't do this with the F8X generation. They just did not make a wagon version of those cars. But they did with the G8X generation. They've done it with certain generations, like certain BMWs will have M3 wagons, certain one of them don't. But the newest one, the G8Xs, they do. They have wagons. I think they're called G81s, or they're either G81s or G83s. I can't remember. But they're pretty much exactly what it sounds like. This beautiful wagon, this extremely wide and aggressive, that has everything that a BMW M3 has, but just in a wagon platform. Again, I get the fact that Americans don't buy wagons, and so they don't bring wagons over to the States, but God, this would be cool to see. And coming in at 9th place is here for the same reason why the Lancia Delta is here, but I honestly think it's a hot take, but I think these cars are kind of cooler. The Renault 5 Turbos, or the Renault 5 Turbo Maxi, realistically speaking. The Renault 5 Turbos are cool cars, but the Maxi is just like, ooh, baby. For those who don't know, these are Group B rally cars, just like the Lancia Delta. Actually, the Lancia Delta, I believe, is Group A. I don't think it was Group B. But either way, it is, they're right around the same thing, pretty much. And they're really cool rally cars of the 90s is what I'm trying to say, and we just didn't get them. Again, Renault as a brand has some insanely cool drivers cars. Obviously, very, very, like, enthusiast car oriented brand, and we just never got them as a brand, and it's so unfortunate because cars like this, again, it's going to be very, very unlikely that you'll see one as an American. Another thing about Renault that I forgot to mention as well is it's even more unlikely that you'll see one of these as an American than it is like with a JDM car, because more people like JDM cars than they do Renaults and stuff like that, especially in America. So there's a good chance you might be able to get to see a Chaser in your life because people will import them. But cars like the Renault 5 Turbo, people aren't importing those nearly as much as cars like Chasers, Skylines, whatever it may be. And so it's really unfortunate. Either way, coming in at 8th place is going to be going to the Honda Integra Type R DC5. This is, for those who don't know, the RSX that we have in America, the Acura RSX that we have in America, but the Type R variant. Everybody loves the Integra Type R the DC4s is what they're called, the one that I have, the one that you think of when you think of Integras here in America. Everyone loves the Type R versions of those. They're for being one of the most impressive front-wheel drive cars of all time. And the DC5 was literally just better than that car in every single way, and we never got it. It's really freaking unfortunate, man. Well, would you look at that? Coming in at 7th place is yet again another freaking like Group B rally car, because Group B rally cars were awesome and we just never got any rally cars here. I don't know why rally racing isn't like popular in America. It's a crime. But either way, it's going to the Ford RS200. The Ford RS200 is so unbelievably cool, man. There's like, I don't understand how you could look at an RS200 and not fall in love with it immediately. Just looking at it, you're like, wow, that's a gorgeous car. And then when you actually obviously get to drive these things, I guarantee it's one of the most fun, entertaining vehicles to drive on the planet. It's just a Group B rally freaking monster. Unfortunately, this is the car though that pretty much ended Group B rally, by the way, because this car killed a lot of people. Coming in at 6th place, however, the sixth hate that freaking word, 6th position here is another car that actually was on my top 25 best hatchbacks list because I love these cars, the Volkswagen Shurocco RS, the most recent ones. We did get some Shuroccos. There was, I think, the first 2 generations of the Shurocco we actually got in America, and then I believe this is the 3rd generation, and we didn't get this in America. Don't quote me on that, though. I could be wrong. Not too up to date on my Shurocco knowledge. But either way, whatever the one is that you're seeing on the screen right now is the one I'm talking about. It is freaking sick. Like, I'm not a big fan of Volkswagen hatchbacks. You guys know that. I think they're great cars. I just don't like how they look. You know what I mean? I'm just not the big personal fan of their looks. They're obviously good cars, just not a fan of their looks. But the Shurocco is something completely different. It looks like a super low, sleek sports car, but in a hatchback body, which is very, very rare, and I freaking love it. Coming in at 5th place, another car where I honestly thought we did get him in America and was very surprised when I found out that we didn't. It's going to the Audi RS2 Avant. The RS2 Avant is arguably top 5 most popular Audi, like most impactful popular Audis of all time, like period. Like, people love the RS2 Avant. It is an incredible car. There's been very, very small numbers of Audi S2s as well, so it's very rare to just get an S2 in general. And the RS2 is even more rare, and then an RS2 Avant is extremely rare. Cars like the RS6 Avant, and that we all liked nowadays, have this car to thank for that. It started it all, and we never got to see it. It's probably because it's a wagon, and so I get why, but come on. And coming in at 4th place, I mean, I feel like this is the 5th now rally car on this list, but what can I say, man? I like rally cars, okay? I think they're cool, and it's really unfortunate that we just didn't get, for some reason in America, nobody but me, it seems like, likes rally racing. It is a crime. Either way, it's going to the Lancia Stratos. Honestly, realistically speaking, any Lancia deserves to be here. I already mentioned the Delta HF Integrale, but the Delta S4, the Fulvia, any Lancia deserves to be on this list. The Lancia Stratos is obviously the one we're talking about right now. They're just freaking awesome. The Lancia rally cars of the 90s were some of the coolest cars we ever got, period. Not just for rally racing, but just in general. And again, I get that, you know, Americans didn't like rally racing. We're not big into rally racing. But I don't care. I am. Okay, I like rally racing, so bring them here, please, for me. Either way, coming in at third place, the bronze medal for this list, making it onto the podium finish, is another wagon, the BMW M5 E61. How in... again, I get it. It's a wagon. Americans don't like wagons. We don't buy wagons. It's a bad idea for them to bring them over here, yada, yada, yada. But how is that possible, man? How is it possible that people would not buy a V10 powered BMW wagon? I don't think that would have been the case there, BMW, okay? I think if you had brought this over here, there would have been a good number of people that would have purchased this car. Like, I guarantee it. It's a V10 powered wagon. Clearly you're trying to sell the M5 to car enthusiasts, and the only people that buy cool wagons are car enthusiasts. So I guarantee people would have bought this thing. I would rather have an M5 E61 than I would the M5 E60. Like, that would have been a cooler car, I think. It's a crime. Either way, coming in at second place, it's here. I'm not... Alright, I'll talk. It's the Australian Utes. Any of the Australian Utes, it's like a car with a truck bed on it, pretty much. The Australians get so mad at you when you say it like that, because it's not technically correct. It technically has like a tub on it. It has like a hot tub on the back. They say it's got everything short of a wave pool as the bed. Like, no, actually, it's not called a bed. It's called an Aeromax 3000 Super Decker. Like, I'm calling it a bed, all right? But either way, that's what it is. It's the El Camino, okay? You remember the El Caminos, the Ford Rancheros? That's what it is, but they make cooler ones over there. Honestly, any Australian car, like Ford Falcons, anything like that they make over there, I want in America. 9 times out of the Holden Commodores, 9 times out of 10, they are some of the coolest freaking things we've ever seen. And it's like Australians are literally just Americans, but down under. They're the exact same people. Australians and Americans would get along so freaking well. They're the exact same kinds of people. And so you know dang well, since the Australians like their Utes, that Americans would as well. Like, you know that would happen. And they're made by, like, GM anyways, so why aren't they making them up here? Either way, it's so obvious, man. The number one car, the coolest car that America never got, is obviously going to be going to the Nissan Skyline GTR R3Xs, whether that be the R32, the R33, or the R34. Any performance GTR besides the R35, we did not get in America. The R35 we do have in America, and thank God we do. That's a really cool car. I love that car. I think people hate on it just because they like want to be different. The R35 is gorgeous. It's an incredible car. But obviously the R34, R33, R32, that's what really started it all. The Hakosuka, the Ken Mary, the R31, the HR30s. Those were some of the most awesome JDM sports cars we ever got, period, and we didn't get them here in America. It's obviously a crime. Nowadays, all of them are at an age where you can import them, and people are importing them left, right, and center, so there's a good chance you'll see these as an adult, but it just sucks because now every one of these cars are going to have import tax. Every one of them are going to be super sketchy to buy. If we had just had them since the beginning, and there was more of them, the price also would be lower. It's just unfortunate because even though there's a good chance you'll be able to see a Skyline GTR, a 90s GTR, at some point within your lifetime, there's a good chance you'll never be able to own them because of the price now, which is so sad. In Japan, it's not that bad, but again, since we live in America with the import tax, it's just unrealistic. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video, going over the top 25 coolest cars that America never got. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos I'd see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my other social medias or any of my other YouTube channels or any of that great mumbo jumbo. And yeah, I realized at the end of that Skyline clip that I didn't really talk about what makes like Skylines great or anything. I just kind of like talked about them. I didn't really think I had to, if I'm being honest. I mean, let's be honest, I didn't have to. Everyone knows why Skylines are cool, but in case you don't, Skylines are cool because they were good at every single motorsports that they entered into. They were dominating. Like, there's two cars that I always consider the best 90s cars of all time: the R32 GTR and the E30 M3. Those are the two cars that every time like somebody's asked me what do you think is the best 90s car ever created, it's one of those two. Those are like, they were just like, if you like motorsports in any way, I don't see how you would say it's anything other than those two cars. Those cars were dominant in every form of motorsports they entered, and that's class dominance. Like, yes, there's cars like the C5R, like the Corvette C5R. That was a super cool car, and it dominated the FIA when it joined it, right? It was doing great, but it was just good at that. It wasn't good at rally racing. It wasn't good at hill climb or anything like that. Skylines and E30 M3s, they were good at everything they entered into. They dominated everything. That's impressive to me. And so yeah, the R32s, R33s, R34s, they were just some of the most legendary cars, and we never got them in America, unfortunately. So that's why I put it at number one. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Das Vidanya, and have a nice night. Oh, we're gonna be doing a Good, Bad, and Ugly next video, by the way. So if you're looking for the next Good, Bad, and Ugly, it'll be out in 2 days. Bye.